Hi guys, and welcome back to Betty Savvy TV. I am Betty Savvy, and today's video is super juicy. Okay, we're gonna talk about how to argue with your spouse. So you can watch a video or read a book or have someone tell you to not argue with your spouse, and that's fine, but that's not really realistic. See, honestly, you're going to spend the rest of your life with them. Yeah, there's gonna be arguments in that lifetime, honey. Let me let you know right now. So grab your spouse. Meanwhile, my spouse just got a text message saying it's about to go down, you about to be put on blast. So he's very aware of me making this video. I've been with my husband for 12 years and we're going on 9 years of marriage, and through that we have argued a lot, and these tips come from me arguing so wrong. Yes, you could argue wrong. There's a wrong way to argue. There's wrong things you could do or say before, during, or after an argument, and I just want to be able to help you out. Let's help each other out. All right, so before I go into these 5 awesome tips that I know will really help you out, I just want to put a disclaimer. If they don't help you out, you could just go ahead and blame it on me. Be like, honey, the next one I'm going to do better. But this girl, I watched the whole video. I don't know why. She told me to do that. I'm sorry. So I apologize. If this doesn't work, then that's fine. All right, so we're done with the disclaimer. Let's get into the video. Here are your 5 tips. Number 1 is evaluate yourself. Okay, evaluate yourself. Are you even in the right state of mind to have a discussion or argument or try to be an adult? I'm going to give you 2 things that's about to solve your whole life. When you feel like a discussion is now heating up into an argument, you need to ask yourself these 2 questions. Are you hungry or are you tired? I just solved all marriage problems. Have you ever argued on the way to a restaurant? Have you ever argued right before bed with your spouse? Yeah, you probably have. Don't leave me hanging. I'm not the only one. It's because your stomach is empty or you're irritated from not sleeping. Are you cramping? Are you sore from the gym? Are you just not physically right for anyone to approach you with anything, even if it's the nicest thing? You may not want to argue. You may want to eat something. You may want to take a little nap. You may want to sleep on it, as they say, before you go into such a heated discussion, because your body, your mind will affect the way this argument goes if you have not ate or you have not slept. Okay? And don't be one of those people that's like, oh, well, you know what? I lost my appetite. I don't even want to eat anymore. No, honey. You need to eat, okay? You shove a burger down your spouse's throat and say, eat this right now. Watch their mood change. Watch them start smiling. And then you, after a few sips, a few eating, you sit back and you bring the topic back up. I bet you it will be so much better. You need to eat. You need to sleep. Sometimes the easiest, simplest things in life are just cured with food. That's just me. That's my mentality. Okay, tip number 2 is recognize your atmosphere. Okay, so here's a little things to keep in mind. Are you going into work? Do you only have a 30-minute lunch break? Are you in a public atmosphere? Are you at a party or a function or something important? You need to check 2 things, which it is time and place. Okay, is it the right time or place to talk about this, to argue about this? Okay, these are all things that you're kind of seeing beforehand. These are tips that you're looking at before you're about to go into an argument. Okay, so if you only have 30 minutes break, do you think it's smart to discuss something that's really, really important and has heavy topics? No, because what's going to happen is you're going to be cut off. You're either going to go back to lunch late or clock in back late, and you're going to go back to work aggravated. Are you at a function? Is it not the time or place? Are you around people that you probably shouldn't be arguing around? You don't want to do that. What else? Check your atmosphere. Are your kids around? Is your family listening? Are they in the next room? You don't want to let this get into an argument if that's the case. You need to check your time and your place. Sometimes you just need to wait for things, okay? If anything, maybe even schedule them. I know it sounds weird because we are all scared of that text message. I need to talk. No one wants to get that text message, but it's important. It's actually very courteous to say, hey, after we're done with dinner, because you got to eat first, I want to talk to you about something, okay? Right then and there, your spouse is going to want to feel all of this like anxiety. No. Tell me now. Tell me right now. No, You're trying to be courteous so that they could be mentally ready and have time apart for this topic. If you just try to talk about something kind of spontaneously and don't really plan it, it might turn into an argument because it's not the time or the place. The person might not be ready for it. And do arguments happen like that often? Yes, of course. Sometimes you can prevent arguments from happening. Just situations make arguments happen. But a lot of times you can just make them into discussions and really chill, relax, talking rather than an argument if you schedule it. If you know ahead of time you need to talk with your spouse, you might want to schedule it. All right? So that is tip number 2. Tip number 3 is identify the issue. There's so many times that a third party is going to be responsible for an issue in your marriage, which makes no sense, but it happens all the time. Sometimes the issue isn't really you and your spouse's issue. It's like a family member or a friend or something to do with something that you're both involved in, maybe even something to do with work. And it's kind of like an outside problem, but it's causing an inside problem with you guys. You need to identify, is this worth arguing about? Why? Because if that issue wasn't there, if that whatever it is that's causing that trouble wasn't there, what would you guys be doing? Would you guys be arguing? You'd probably be cuddling up, watching some Netflix, relaxing, seeing if your mom could watch the kids. You know, you might be doing something totally different, hanging out. So understand that, man, there's things that are going to get in your marriage sometimes and try to creep in. And you have to identify, this is not really our issue. So let's evaluate, is this their problem? Do they have to figure it out? How much of a role do we play in this issue that's happening? Because it didn't really stem from us. Okay, that's so important. All right, you definitely don't want to be arguing about something in someone else's behalf. No. Okay, your spouse, definitely put your spouse above other issues and other people. Definitely always do that. All right, so the other part to that I want to talk to you about is that sometimes you have to identify the issue, because a lot of times I've seen in my marriage, it's okay if this doesn't relate to you, but it's not actually an argument. It feels like an argument. There's a lot of talk happening, but it's not an argument. Sometimes my husband is just having a bad day. Sometimes I'm just having a bad day. And then you realize this isn't really an argument, because an argument is two people. The other person, your spouse, is just angry or upset, and they just need to let it all out. And you, because who better to but you, to listen to them and just let them let it all out. Because there are going to be times that you argue about something that really you just need to listen. So I need to share this little mini tip within the tip. Learn to shut up and listen. Shut up and listen is the biggest thing ever, because there's many times that I just be quiet while my husband spoke. Why? Because I learned that not every time you have to say something, and you definitely don't need to have the last word. That's not the type of mentality you need to have in a marriage, because at the end of the day, you're going to argue many times over, but that is your friend, that is your spouse. You do love them. All right, so identify the issue. Is this a third party issue? Is this not even an argument? Is this just like a venting type moment? Understand what it is so that you can know your place in it. Okay, tip number 4. Guys, I'm giving you the best I got here. Use control. Are you ready? Valium control and word control. Oh my gosh. I'm laughing because I know myself. Anyways, use Valium control. I am just like a victim of this. No, I'm just kidding. I am so bad with this because, as you can see, I'm very loud. I could project my voice. Check this out. Guys, dinner's ready. I am able to scream from one side of the room to the other, and everyone will help me. Matter of fact, me just saying that, they're probably all going to come in here. I am very loud, and I'm very passionate Latina woman. But when I talk about something, it's for some reason, it just starts getting louder and louder and louder, and you don't want to do that. Likewise, my husband has been very good at it for many years, but before, he used to also raise his voice. And now my husband is a staff sergeant in the Army. So imagine his type of arguing or yelling. Sometimes his voice would be very loud, not so much because he's trying to like hulk out and yell at me, but because he's passionate about what he's talking about, and the volume's just getting louder and louder. So here it goes, mine goes up, his goes up, and he just goes. So anyways, We have worked on that so much, and he'll actually tell me in the middle of the argument, you're getting too loud. And he'll do something like this. I don't know. He uses his hands too, guys. And then I typically say, and he can let you know the truth, that I will say, I'm not loud. I'm not even talking loud. I'm talking normal. If you've ever said that, give this video a thumbs up. I'm just saying that volume control is so important. You want to make sure that the more you're upset at something, that you slowly start to just talk real calm, because you could actually switch it and flip your argument into a discussion. And now discussion is more civil, because that's obviously just you talking about something important, and you want to bring your voice down. You don't want to like dumb it down. You don't want to talk to them like they're a baby or they're a child, but you want to talk really calm and really slow, because you're trying to get your point out there, aren't you? So you sometimes may think yelling and being loud is going to get your whole sentence and your whole point out there. But sometimes if you talk slow, it'll be better for them, because they won't miss what you're saying, because they won't be arguing. So volume control is so important for you and your spouse. For men, sometimes if you have a deep voice, volume could be a harmful thing, because it can now create kind of like an intimidating environment, and you never want your spouse to be scared while they're listening to you, especially if your voice is very like deep. And then girls. I know that you may want to be loud sometimes, but you are no longer a kid, a child, a screaming toddler. You are an adult, okay? You're in a marriage. You decided to get married, and whatever state you live in decided that you are old enough to get married. So you definitely need to watch your tone, because tone is everything. All right, the second thing is word control. Be in control, guys. Please don't say things that is going to harm the other person. Things like pushing their buttons or low blows. Things like that are just kind of like third-party elements that you brought on, okay? Those are things that may have nothing to do with what you guys are talking about, but now you brought up something really hurtful to that person. You said something mean, you poked fun at them, or disrespected them or their character. You want to regard their feelings, okay? At the end of the day, you're upset. And sometimes you may be the type of person that when you're upset, that's it. You don't care about anything. But you should care, especially if you want that person to care about you. Because the minute you start acting that way, that may come right back to you, and you'll feel how horrible that feels, okay? So word control and volume control, these things are so important, because at the end of the day, if you're having an argument, you don't want this to turn into something that you can't just brush off the next day, okay? Something that's going to be something that is going to hurt your marriage long term, all right? So word control, volume control. Tip number 5. Tip number 5 is so important. Matter of fact, I need you to write this down. Write this and type it out in the comments below so that you could remember it. This is absolutely so important and vital for both of you to know. All right? You need to learn and be very comfortable with the art of apologizing. Okay, the art of apologizing. You need to be able to apologize and know how to apologize and know when to apologize. You both need to apologize after an argument, because it kind of shows regard for what happened and an understanding that it did happen, that you did argue, that things did get a little bit heated and things were possibly said or done during that time. Apologizing is what keeps this little wheel spinning of marriage, guys. It makes you go on to the next day, and it makes you be able to kind of close out the argument so you don't have to bring it up again. Now, even if you didn't truly find the exact resolution that you wanted, create a resolution within your marriage with your husband or wife, telling them, I apologize for that. Meaning you're going to do better. Meaning the next time you talk about it, it's going to be a little easier or not as rough. And for you parents, listen up. If you happen to argue in front of your kids, which is going to definitely happen, you need to make sure that they see resolution, that they see mommy and daddy saying sorry to each other, that they see you guys giving each other a hug or a kiss on the cheek. That is so important. If they see you guys arguing, it is actually healthy for them to see resolution, because they know that problems can be solved and that things can happen bad, but you can go back to loving each other. That love conquers all. That is so important for your little child or toddler or teenager or adult child that is one day going to have a marriage of their own. Be an example, be able to apologize, and Just get used to it, because it's going to be a whole lifetime of apologizing. So leave all the pride. Just say what you're going to say with a full heart. Be genuine and just apologize, both of you guys. All right, so that's tip number 5. I hope these tips are going to help you out. And I just want to leave you with a little something, something. Okay, that was an awesome scripture that I love, and there's so many more like that. Share a scripture with your spouse, watch sermons together, go to a retreat, go away, go somewhere together, because if you're going through a season where you say, you know what, Betty, I actually don't really argue with my spouse, but right now things have been so hard, so stressful, hardships are going to happen, and sometimes they may create an atmosphere and the type of arguing that you really never experienced in your marriage before, or that you experienced at the very beginning. And that's okay. It's just a season. You're going to get through it. So just remember that. Refocus. Go back to God. Ask God for help. Ask others for help, because your marriage is the most important relationship in your life. Not your job, nor your friends or your family members are even as important as your spouse. You gave them a vow, and that is the person you need to love and honor and put first before everyone else. So I hope this helped you. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And if you're watching me on YouTube, don't forget to put your notification bell on so that you can know whenever I post a video. And if you're watching me on Facebook, go ahead and share this on your timeline right now. All right, so see you next week.